Hey, Professor Dean. I might be talking a little low because my daughter is asleep in the room right next to me, but this is the end of the semester. Uh, First off, I wanted to say thank you. I thought that this class was really cool. It's definitely not what I expected. This was my first um, entry into the sociology world, and definitely was not what I expected. I really had like a I've taken a psychology course, so I was kind of like thinking about how that connected, and it's definitely two different subjects. They're two different viewpoints of humans, and I really did enjoy sociology. Um, Looking back at my very first video that I made for this class, I'm like such a different person now. It's so funny. I I do want to say that. So I think in my first initial video, I said that I was interested in like the race and the crime, um, and I think I was also interested in. So I think I was interested in the race, the crime, and the social class. And honestly, every module was really cool, especially during the second half of the semester. I felt like the first half of the semester was really like to set in those sociological perspectives and how to understand sociology and how to look at things like a sociologist. And then we really dove in. We got into crime, we got into gender, we got into sexuality, we got into race and ethnicity, and then social class. Just to not talk your ear off for the rest of the night, I'm just going to point out a few that really stuck out to me. So, one of the first ones that really stuck out to me was the social class module, which was the last module that we just did. I actually discovered something about myself in this module. I am I really connected with the racial wealth gap. I always knew that there was a wealth gap in the country, but um, and I knew that there was a racial wealth gap too, but I didn't dive really deep into it like some of the videos that we watched and some of the readings that we did was. So something that kind of hit home for me at least was learning about, I myself I found out that I'm a first generation college graduate. I mean, I know it sounds weird because I really kind of looked back and thought, wow, I really am a first generation college graduate. And one part of the racial wealth gap inequality that they pointed out was that, as a a first generation college graduate, for example, in my family, I'm Hispanic. I come from an Hispanic background, and nobody in my family has a higher education degree, so um, everybody comes to me for a lot of different things, which makes it harder for me to move forward in success and in wealth, as opposed to like a white American who most of their families come from colleges. And, even though we both kind of came in and I also got a high education degree and so did their family members are all well educated and didn't have that same experience that I have. And that's why it's harder for, I guess, minorities in this country to get ahead. And I still think education is extremely important. I'm going to, make sure my daughter understands that as well. And she'll be a second generation college graduate, and I sat there and I thought about, wow, like nobody knew how to fill out a FAFSA form. I had to figure it out by myself. When I first went to community college a long time ago, nobody went to community college in my family. I had to figure it out that I could wait for classes that were full. I could, you know, I was having counselors kind of tell me, well, if it's full, you can kind of wait, but like, looks like you're going to be here for a while, so I can see where like people get stuck in that system. And that was a really cool module, and learned a lot about myself and learned a lot about, you know, society. And um, it's not what I thought in the beginning of the class for sure. Definitely, I had like a good like kind of foundation, I guess, from life experience. But um, it was great to kind of like get a full understanding of it, and even learning about like the segregation with race, and buying properties where you get wealth, and when they were redlining communities, that was why the wealth was growing in white America, um, because the properties that they bought in the 50s and the 40s were, and the house was like $3,000, and then inflation rose, and now those same houses, especially in the Bay Area, are worth like $2 to $5 million. And I mean, there was, by the time it was the 90s hit with the Clinton administration, like we learned in the video, um, it was too late. We had, minority African Americans in this country, Hispanics in this country, uh, Asian Americans in this country were already kind of at that disadvantage of not being able to afford because we had already been left out of the equation. And now that, it, we were starting to slowly be brought in, it was still too late. Most of the property have already risen in value, and the income wasn't rising with it, just like the social class, the wealth gap that we learned about. Um, and just kind of looking at my notes here. Gender was also another one that was really interesting to learn about. I am from the San Francisco Bay Area, so um, I know that gender has a lot of fluidity in it, and I have a lot of friends that are part of the LGBTQ plus community, and I'm full ally, and I fully support them. And I um, really wasn't properly educated on it like I was during that module, and it was interesting to learn about the masculinity, what it means to be a man, and that definition that society puts as you need to be aggressive, you need to be in charge, and that's not the case. I mean, it's a social construct, just like we've learned in the modules. The bathroom, the bathroom bills was interesting too, to learn about. Most assaults aren't happening in public bathrooms. Trans women are not assaulting any women and children, but the conservatives are believing that they are assaulting because they're a man, because they're deemed as predators because of that definition of masculinity that they give to all men. And if you're not, a masculine man, then you are not accepted. And I think just kind of current events, the Chiefs kicker's commencement speech to a room full of women and men, telling them to be unapologetic in their masculinity and telling women that they should be not in careers and they should be um, just wives and trying to have families. I mean, as somebody who has a daughter now, like that was infuriating to watch, and that is toxic masculinity, which is something we learned about in that gender module. But I think this video is going a little long. Sorry if I rambled on a little bit, but I learned a lot in sociology. I I definitely, like I said, the last module definitely was so interesting to me with the wealth gap, and I posted in my Padlet, a video that I saw when I graduated high school about the wealth inequality in this country, and it has gotten significantly worse since then, especially the pandemic. I mean, you've had 10 of the richest people in the world double their their wealth, which is insane. Groceries are at an all-time high. People are living paycheck to paycheck. The San Francisco Bay Area has homeless problem. House. The San Francisco Bay Area's people that are unhoused are a big issue that needs to be addressed because we need to have affordable housing for them. We need to have programs to help with drug addiction and drug abuse, and we don't, we're on the right track of having those, but I mean, the cost of living in the San Francisco Bay Area is absolutely insane. Even in my house as a two-income household, that we're barely making it, which is crazy to think about because, I mean, we just talked about in the sexuality module, we learned about making sex fun, about how men were able to support whole families just off of their own income because that was the mentality of that day. And times have changed a lot. But anyways, just wanted to say thank you, Professor. I learned so much. This was awesome, and hope to see you in person and meet you one day. And um, I learned so much. Thank you again for a great semester.